helps us build, helps us recover. I mean, it works on basically every system, and this would be a 3-hour long podcast if I talked about everything it does. But when we're talking about protein, especially in the gym setting, we often think about it as growing and repairing muscles, and that's generally why we would supplement with it.
Let's demystify the health and wellness industry and help you become the most holistically well you. Welcome to Coffee Break, a weekly segment of the podcast Coffee and the 6 F's, brought to you by CrossFit Camrose, where we'll talk about fitness, health, and wellness tips that matter to you. Hi, Jilisa.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good. We had some questions from our members asking about supplements, the best ones to take, and what I've noticed throughout my many years of fitnessing is everyone can agree on the best supplements.
Yes, it's very straightforward. It's very clear.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of mixed reviews about things. One thing works for everyone.
Yeah.
And so if we all just take one thing, same amount and everything, we will all get super jacked and healthy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So supplements are there to supplement, meaning that if ideally you could get everything your body needed out of your nutrition, your whole food-based diet, that you'd be good to go. But it's getting harder and harder to do that, right? So that's where supplements come in, and it's more filling the gaps of where we lack some nutrition guidance, I guess.
Yeah, I think I don't want to speak for Jocelyn, but I think our team is kind of on the same page in that. Who's
your team?
Well, Jocelyn and I, as well as the CrossFit Camrose team.
Greater purpose.
Nutrition.
Just
in that, like, we do our best to get all of our required vitamins and minerals from whole foods first, but because of where we live and our food supply, there are certain things that, this is a big generalization, but as Canadians that we lack. And then, of course, depending on goals, that's where supplementation can play a big factor.
So I'm guessing vitamin D is going to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
Macronutrients versus micro.
So our macronutrients would be carbs, fats, and proteins. Micronutrients. This is like a test.
Wow,
vitamins
people
and
want to know. We want to make sure that we don't just assume everyone knows what macro is and minerals and vitamins.
Yep.
Vitamins.
The vitamins.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Go for it.
You want to start with protein?
Yeah, proteins. So let's say what does protein do for us?
Okay, so protein in general works in our muscles, helps us build, helps us recover. I mean, it works on basically every system, and this would be a 3-hour long podcast if I talked about everything it does. But when we're talking about protein, especially in the gym setting, we often think about it as growing and repairing muscles, and that's generally why we would supplement with it, and why we talk so much about eating protein pre and post workout.
Right.
So there's a few different kinds of protein that we talk about, and actually that we carry now too. I think the most common is a whey protein. It does the best job of increasing strength and building lean muscle. It's really fast absorbing, and most formulas have a higher concentration of amino acids, which are really important for doing all those things. Generally, we talk about taking a protein supplement or protein powder 30 minutes after exercise. But for each person, that's kind of different. So depending on goals, like if weight loss is a big goal, or if it's someone who, let's say, lives in town and does a workout and takes a protein shake and then goes home and have supper, they might be even overdoing it. So I feel like it's not necessary for every single person to have a protein supplement pre or post workout, but in certain situations it can be really beneficial. So if you know that it's going to be a few hours before you have a meal, or if you're someone who struggles to get enough protein in your diet as it is, then it can be really valuable, just as a fast and easy way to up your protein.
Yeah, and when you say overdoing it, it's not like you're gonna fall over and die, right? And
no, it's not like it's dangerous. It's just that your body can only process so much protein at once, and the rest you basically
Right. And there's been some actually pretty cool studies on that too.
Yeah.
Like people have just gone overboard on it. And
well, there is like that carnivore diet now where you just eat meat, and I mean, you can find a diet for everything, and depending on the person, they might think it's the best thing or the worst thing. And I'm not going to talk about my opinions that much here, but
well, and so another thing is, not to cut you off there, but it's more essential that you get protein than timing it perfectly.
Yeah.
Like if people are eating whatever and whenever they want, and not getting the macronutrients or micronutrients either, then it really doesn't matter if it's half an hour or 10 minutes.
That's one of the things we talk about in our 6-week program, is kind of like addressing that lowest hanging fruit. Like if you're not eating any vegetables and if you don't eat any protein, I mean, having a protein shake right after you work out is great, but we've got bigger fish to fry.
Right.
So I mean, those are all things that are individual and dependent on the person, but for those people who do have a pretty good base with their nutrition and are looking to take that, just ramp it up a little bit, it can be really beneficial in building strength and recovery and muscle growth. The other kind of protein, actually 2 other kinds of protein that I'll just touch on real quick. One is casein protein, which is really useful if you're, say, like a hard gainer or someone really super small and have a really hard time gaining weight or muscle mass. It can be really helpful in that. It's more of a slow absorbing protein, so we don't necessarily talk about having it right after workouts or right before. It's more, we would recommend taking that kind of as a nighttime sort of supplement. So it works well to build muscle while you sleep, I guess. There's some real great, almost like dessert-ish recipes you can use with casein protein. Make it into like a pudding before you go to sleep.
Delicious.
I wish I was that person, but I'm not. And then the other one, so for people, I was going to mention with whey protein, if you're dairy sensitive, you might struggle with some abdominal cramping or not the best side effects if you're taking a whey protein. So there are a lot of great options out there now for
cricket,
cricket, pea protein, and even like
meat.
rice protein. I think we just got in a vegan protein, and I believe it's pea protein and rice.
We have egg protein too.
And we also have egg protein,
And one other thing I should, just before I go too far, is that this is not medical advice in any way, and there are other supplements out there for people that will benefit them, but this is like more of a just your starting checklist of things that can benefit the general population.
I meant to say at the beginning that I technically cannot prescribe, so this is not medical advice. This is just general knowledge.
Cool chatting. Me and you're just chatting, and it just happens to be recorded.
When we get to more of like the over-the-counter kind of supplements, I will purposefully not recommend any dosages because I'm not allowed to, but you can figure it out.
Right.
It's real easy
we haven't even talked about dosages in protein.
Yeah.
Like
it'll tell you on the bottle, but I can't tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that covers that.
Cool.
What's next? Oh, let's talk about...
they heard your paper. Now they know you're reading.
No, I'm not. I memorized it.
She does know, just
HMB creatine. So this is a supplement that I think there's a little bit of confusion about. Somebody asked me if it was steroids. It's definitely not a steroid. HMB creatine is actually an awesome supplement if you are looking to gain strength and muscle mass. So HMB stands for hydroxymethylbutyrate. And creatine doesn't stand for anything. It's just a word. But it is shown to increase strength with training. So when you put those things together, they work a little bit differently, but when you put them together, they work on the muscle to maintain and repair muscle cells. So when you're working out really hard, it's a really good way to up your recovery, and also so if you up your recovery, you're able to push harder the next day, which helps you grow muscle faster. And it's really well researched now, and it's very, very safe. So I think in all the research I was doing, basically the only thing they said is probably don't take it if you're pregnant, and not because there are bad side effects, but because there isn't science about that yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's no testing, and then it's not necessarily good for children. So, and then also it will likely add some water weight. So, I mean, most people don't care too much about that, but if you're, say, like an athlete that has to do weigh-ins, or you have to be a certain weight, then it might not necessarily be the best thing, because it probably will make you retain a little bit of water. But other than that, like, I mean, especially for strength and power athletes, having a little bit more weight is definitely not the worst thing.
And when you say a little more weight, it's not drastic.
No, like a pound or two.
Yeah, I've used creatine my whole athletic life, and it's been really good. Another one little thing that you touched on is recovery. So essentially, what all supplements are doing is, the biggest thing is it's helping you recover faster.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what protein does. You can work out as hard as you want, but if you're not recovering, then a lot of it kind of goes to waste.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing, I think that a lot of people think that creatine is just for like strength athletes, but there is also science to say that it improves endurance,
anaerobic capacity too.
Aerobic capacity,
anaerobic
VO2 max, increases of VO2 max. So
lactic threshold.
Yeah, it says it just prolongs the onset of that lactic acid buildup. So that's sweet, because who doesn't want to run longer before they feel like their legs are going to explode?
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm a big fan of creatine. I take it too sometimes. Well, sometimes.
And something you do have to take pretty consistently too.
Yeah. And I mean, I should also say, like, it is safe, but there is also definitely some good ways to take it. Like, you don't just take it whenever you want. There's a system to how and when to take it, which also says on the container, so I don't need to tell you about that.
Yeah, and also the studies change on that all the time. Like, some say you have to load phase it and do this and this, but
yeah, it is something that's naturally occurring in your body. It's just that when you have a little bit more, it's more effective. Yep. Okay, that covers that. BCAAs, or a pre-workout. So BCAA stands for branch chain amino acid. So I like BCAAs because they taste good.
Yeah.
It's bad because it just tastes like juice.
Candy.
It does. It tastes like candy. But so it's kind of similar. Just all these things really just help with recovery and being stronger and faster. They just work in different systems. So, again, amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So when you take a supplement of branch chain amino acids, it's just going to help with the building of muscle and protein and recovery. Now, these things can be found in food as well, but when you take a supplement, it just increases the amount of those in your body. So some people say that they feel more energized or fatigue less if they take a BCA protein or pre-workout. There's different ways to take it. You can take it before you work out or during, depending on the kind that you get. But yeah.
Yeah, BCAAs are a breakdown of protein, correct?
Mm-hmm. Well, amino acids are like the building blocks of protein. Right, yeah. So, it said that, like, they can increase growth hormone circulation, which can be related to growing muscle, anabolic growth.
You always want muscle.
And they also, most BCA supplements include a blend of electrolytes and some other vitamins and minerals, so it might be mixed with like a coconut water type thing. They also usually include some caffeine in the mixture, which is why it might give you that little boost when you work out. And then also, I think that the kind that we have includes a blend of potassium and sodium, calcium and magnesium. So all those things that your body already produces, but and has, but just an extra little dose.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's BCAAs.
Yeah, and this is a pretty
It's very general.
widely argued thing too. You'll see on the internet and everywhere what's the best supplement and what the best is. And so this is just, again, a general guideline to what.
This is if you're already nailing your nutrition.
Yeah, and also like you'll probably see if you search any of these things, you'll see like this one works better than this one. This one doesn't work at all. But again, if you're not eating properly, it doesn't really matter. So don't stress about too much.
No. And I think like I've taken BCAAs before, and I can for sure say I've never felt a difference in my workouts. I think if
you're
you
just
do,
too
it's
strong
like
already.
It's like a mental thing. Like, oh, I took BCAAs. I for sure am going to be faster today.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger taking protein, I was like, oh, I got 10 times stronger.
Yeah,
I gained
way stronger all of a sudden. Yeah. Another thing that, no, you want to skip that one?
Let's go to vitamin D.
Okay.
Well, she's going to touch on collagen and magnesium, both great things. And I'm just going to touch on another one. Fish oil is, Jilisa said she was looking at some other stuff and saying it's not good or couldn't be, or not, that's not good, it's not beneficial. But as of right now, fish oil is brings down inflammation in your body. We have omega-6 and omega-3. Omega-6 is inflammatory. Omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. And with our modern diet, we are technically 20-1 inflammatory to anti-inflammatory.
And I should explain, I think some of the research that I was reading is just that some of the like quality of fish oils that you can get now are like made with high metallic fish. So
just search the good stuff out.
You just have to be really careful with what you're buying. Because yes, we do need more omega-3s because we do have a unbalanced ratio generally of the omega-3s and 6s. So it definitely can be helpful for reducing inflammation and that stuff. But you just do have to be really careful with what you buy, and do your research ahead of time.
Yeah, supplement industry isn't super well regulated.
No, and you pay what you get what you pay for.
Pay for the good stuff. Yeah. Don't try to cheap out on this stuff.
Yep.
Vitamin D.
So we live in Canada, and it's cold.
Yes.
And so generally we are lacking in vitamin D. I was just told that you can actually have your vitamin D levels tested now, somewhere here. I forget where, but you can like pay a little bit of money to have your vitamin D tested, and then you can have a better idea of how much you should be supplementing with, which again, I'm not going to tell you how much you should take because I'm not allowed to, but it is a supplement that we recommend to almost everybody. Vitamin D is important for a lot of things. Boosting immunity is one of the biggest things, which is pretty important to talk about right now. But there are some studies that talk about it being important in preventing cancers, even other chronic disease like diabetes. It's good for the heart. So
good to boost testosterone, right?
Yeah, like it's one of those things where it's just kind of good for everything.
It's kind of awesome.
Yeah. There's lots of different forms you can take it in. So it does come in like a pill supplement, but you can also take it in sublingual drops.
That's a big word.
I know a lot. Actually, didn't mean to say a lot. I know someone who has to even take it injected on a monthly basis because I don't know, sometimes our body processes it differently. Not that you can't just get injectable vitamin D at the store. Obviously that's a prescription, but it is something that it is good to be aware of. Like if you're lucky enough to go and fly away and get lots of sun throughout the year, so you might not need to supplement, but I bet 90% of Canadians probably do.
Yep.
So there's that. And then last but not least, by no means is that are these the only supplements that you could be taking, but these are the ones that we kind of talk most about with our clients and have found the most benefit in taking on a regular basis. But magnesium. So magnesium, again, is an over-the-counter. If you've never taken magnesium before, start real slow because it could definitely have some effects on your GI system. Certain ones are a little bit more gentle than others. You can actually buy specifically a gentle formula. So if you are someone who has a bit of a sensitive stomach, you might want to just try a tiny dose to start. But magnesium is great for athletes in that it really helps with reducing muscle soreness. So if you take it before bed and you maybe happen to do a bunch of thrusters that day, you might wake up the next day feeling not as bad as you would have if you didn't take any magnesium. So it just works in kind of like that relaxation kind of a way. So muscle relaxation and recovery, and it actually they do say that it can aid in sleep.
Yes.
So that's awesome. Our bodies don't produce magnesium naturally, so it is really important to get it from dietary sources as well.
Is it in spinach, correct? I think it is.
Yes,
don't quote me on
green
that.
leafy vegetables,
Yes.
a little bit in meat and fish, legumes, nuts, seeds. So all things that you should be eating anyways. So if you have a healthy diet, you might have to take less supplements.
I'm going to add one.
I didn't do my homework on it.
Coffee.
Oh, yeah, I don't need to do my homework on that.
Caffeine.
As a pre-workout?
As any workout.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Post, middle.
Yes. Although I need
Don't
to
have
say
too
something.
much.
No, I need to say something about that too. I talk a lot about hydration with my clients. It's something that our in-body scanner does a great job of pointing out. So if I'm like, hey, how'd you do with drinking your water? And they're like, I did awesome. And then their hydration level is like 30% of their body weight. It's supposed to be at least 50%. I'm like, lies. The lie detector tells me you're lying. They're like, you're right. Okay, I drank a lot of coffee and there's water in coffee. I'm like, that's actually not how it works. And I mean, I love coffee as much as the next person, but it does not count towards your hydration.
No,
and the water you drink in coffee doesn't count.
Yeah, but
actually does the opposite.
It's a nootropic, right? So it helps you focus.
Yes.
And some people it affects more than others.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the supplements, and even talking about creatine, some people have a gene that helps them utilize it better.
Same with melatonin.
Doesn't work for me.
Oh, it definitely works for me. Yeah, coffee is a really good pre-workout. As long as you're not adding sugar to it or a bunch of dairy, because you don't really want to do that before you work out, but it does good things for your body.
Yep.
And it's also good for pre-everything, basically.
Yes. Well, thanks, Jilisa, for joining us on the coffee break today.
Yep.
We look forward to having you on again soon. If you guys have anything you want us to chat about, or who you'd like me to bring on, just tell me.
Yeah.
How are you going to tell me? How are you going to tell you, Matt?
Matt, tell us where we can find you.
Me, personally.
Or this podcast.
This podcast, if you're listening to it, I'm sure you know where it is.
No, but
CrossFit Camrose?
It doesn't have its own Instagram.
No, it should. There you go.
Oh, shoot. I just made my work.
Yeah, Jilisa runs our Instagram. Okay, Jilisa, make another Instagram.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Check you later. You just listened to our podcast with Jilisa, talking about supplements and how they can benefit you in the gym. If you're interested in learning more about our nutrition services, head over to the show links or our website, crossfitcamerals.com. And the service is Greater Purpose Nutrition. Check you guys later.